and welcome to our show, Film Talk with AJ Dean. I'm AJ Dean, your host, and today, wow, get your popcorn ready. Look out, we have Jake C. Young, also known as Jake Eastwood, and we're going to talk about that. And he is a director, producer, writer, and actor. And let's give him a super warm welcome. Hey, Jake, how you doing? Thanks so much for joining us today.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Hey, it's wonderful. So happy Memorial Day to you and everyone out there.
Happy Memorial Day to yourself.
Thank you. And I have been so looking forward to this interview because I have had so many people asking me questions about you, Jake. So let's get right into it if that's okay. Well, let's talk about first Souls Chapel. On the screen right here, we've got Souls Chapel, your brand new poster with the new art, and Daylight to Dark. Now, I watched Daylight to Dark, and it's incredible. It's a fun horror vampire themed movie, and I know a lot of people love those kind of movies, and I do too. And so, tell us about. I'm going to hand the mic over to you. Tell us about Souls Chapel and Daylight to Dark.
Yeah, so Souls Chapel, that is a film that is actually based on a real place currently here where I live in beautiful Lake Cumberland, Kentucky. I live in a little town off the lake called Lake Cumberland, and Souls Chapel is inspired by a real place called Souls Chapel. It was one of the very first founded churches in this area. It was part north, part south in the Confederacy Wars. And the alleged story behind it is that there were a lot of strange rituals and sacrifices that were conducted, and allegedly the land is still haunted. And there's grass that don't grow over graves. Just fun local lore. So I thought it'd be a really cool film and a really cool idea to kind of explore that and explore those local legends to kind of bring something to life and kind of introduce sort of a Western and a steampunk style vibe to the whole era of that film. Daylight to Dark. So you said you'd seen Daylight to Dark, and I'm really glad you enjoyed it. Daylight to Dark was a fun film. I actually wrapped it up. I'm thinking, when was I? It was last year is when we wrapped. So we wrapped up last year, and now we are currently in the process of putting out a extended director's cut of Daylight to Dark. I've had the privilege to been working on that directly, kind of with some individuals with some different music, some different things, a few extra scenes that are in the film. Overall, it's one of my personal favorites. Daylight to Dark was a super ecstatic type of film, and it was a character I've waited so long to get to play on screen, and it overall I thought it was fun. I think it's a little more fun when you're shooting than sometimes you see the final product, but overall, I mean, it was a great time, and I got to work with some really, really amazing people.
Yeah, I loved your character in Daylight to Dark because he's mysterious, and yet he comes to he inserts himself, and you'll have to watch the movie, but it's really fascinating how you have the storytelling and how it unfolds. And you're kind of you want to know more about all of these characters. They're very, very fun, they're very interesting, and it's fascinating. So I did want to circle back to Souls Chapel that you mentioned. Thank you so much for sharing about both of them. What is it haunted? Did you feel there was a creepy vibe there when you were on set? Was there anything that went kind of haywire or unusual?
Yeah, so during the filming of Souls Chapel, everything had went really well. We had sort of had one of those things where people were just like, "Oh man, this project is cursed," because we had a location set for filming. It fell through right before we started, and we ended up having to build a on-set location in my home studio, and we built it in 15 hours for the entire thing. So we built the entire Souls Chapel set. We had this gigantic, this old school style looking barn dominium house. It was already laid out, was going to be perfect. They called us right before and was like, hey, we've had some emergency stuff come up, so we're going to have to cancel your venue. And I was like, oh no, what do we do? So, as an indie filmmaker, you kind of put your head down and you got to work and you got to come up with fast solutions whenever you get in a bind. Because unfortunately, you don't have the such a large backing from studio. Most of my filmmaking ensues from people who are like myself, who support film, who support indie film, and people who are just fans of types of genres, and we can make films the way we want to. And I say to everyone, I couldn't make film if it wasn't for the people who support me supporting me. And I give a huge applause to everyone, all the executive producers, people who kind of who want to see these things happen. So with Souls Chapel, we had a really great film shoot. Shot the whole thing in 7 days. Went really quickly, actually. Um, and then on the final day, I don't know if you guys know anything about Kentucky, but we've recently had some crazy weather. It's been changing. I actually last week most of my city got wiped out by a tornado, which was crazy. So if you guys definitely should go on and send out a some of the help relief that we've got in our local community. We've been very fortunate. Most of our entire community has came together, very supportive. We're building back. Thankfully, there wasn't nothing that we can't recover from. But yeah, we had some crazy weather, and we had a giant flood on set on the final day of Souls Chapel. So we're walking around in like ankle deep water on set, and I'm walking around, and I was ready to throw my hands up, and I really have to applaud my cast and my crew because I was ready to send everyone home. I was like, you know what, we're gonna have to reconvene whenever this was all done. Cast and crew and everybody looked at us and was like, Jake, we're here, let's get it done. And I'm I in my film career I've been very fortunate, um, because I've been well known to bring things in usually under our projected budget and usually a little quicker ahead of schedule. But this one might have had the Souls Chapel curse on it, because this one was really this was playing on us. But we were fortunate enough to have really good people working with us, and we all banded together, and we were able to finish it pretty quickly.
Congratulations. And where there's a will, there's a way. And that's part of excellent filmmaking is persevering through those challenges, Jake, which you and your team did.
Um, and I noticed you got some of the photos up there,
Yeah.
which you had mentioned. Yeah, so that was actually some of my earlier works. I totally just skipped over you. I'm sorry, AJ.
That's fine. No, you're
Um,
fine. No,
but
take it away. Go for it, Jake. You got it.
Yeah, yeah. So I had the privilege of making that film there, as you see, The Dark Room. That was a very interesting film for myself, because it was a psychological thriller. It was kind of the first in its genre for me, doing that. It was a very interesting film, because if you watch the film, it's available on Tubi and Amazon and most of the places where you can get streaming. It's actually on Screenbox as well. So if you're a fan of those types of low budget indie horror films, we directly made this one kind of look as if it were a older 70s style golden age film. This one had a real twist. I was very fortunate to get to work with Miss Diane Franklin, who was in Amityville 2. She was in The Last American Virgin. She was in a ton of films growing up when I was a kid. So getting to work with her after watching her growing up, I mean, that was just super cool. Um, Definitely that one was an experience, and everyone who has watched it so far has left it with a semi-positive review, just because it's more of an art house style film. And when you're directing an art house style film, I've been fortunate enough in this industry to not only be in the films but to be behind the camera directing as well. So that's been a real privilege to get to be able to make films the way that you want to make them.
Yes, and I love that. And speaking of the way you make them, you're also CEO and founder of MTS Pictures. That's your production company. And you also do distribution through them. And we're going to talk a little bit about that a little bit later. But what does MTS stand for? It's founded in 2016. It's a full production company. which is awesome. And I did some research and I looked up MPEG transport stream. Is it, did you name it after MTS file extension, which is often created by, Sony, Panasonic, Canon digital camcorders? Is it related to that, or how did it come about, Jake?
AJ, I really, really wish that I had had a cool story or something like that that I could have said, yes, this is what it was founded off of. But unfortunately, it actually it kind of came about with me and a few of my younger friends. This was probably when I was in my 13, 14-year-old stage. I have recently got heavily into filmmaking. I've always kind of been in and out of filmmaking most of my life. I didn't get really serious about it until 2016, which I officially opened MTS Pictures as a founded, established business. So we are an established business. We are a full production service company. We create feature motion pictures. We also do advertising, things like that. We do distribution. I founded this company. It took me a long time to found MTS Pictures. So MTS Pictures actually came about from a name that was derivative of what we had called Mountaintop Studios whenever I had first originally started MTS, Mountaintop Studios. So that actually came about because someone had once said a joke around me, and they said, "Well, making films is always a mountaintop experience." And I said, "What do you mean?" They said, "Well, either I've been on top of the mountain or the mountain's been on top of me." And I thought that was clever, so it just kind of resonated with me. So I was like, "Mountaintop, that sounds really cool." So over time, due to its lengthy name, and there was, we were trying to get it established. People would spell it wrong, and it was very wrong. So we just shortened it down to MTS Pictures. But MTS Pictures so far has been currently running and operating for we're getting ready to hit a decade that we've been running. So I'm very thankful and very grateful to be able to say that we have made successfully over, I want to say we've worked successfully over on 10 different feature motion pictures, and we've produced at least five, if not more, that are currently in the works. So MTS Pictures has taken its toll from humble beginnings all the way up to getting to work with recognizable names such as
Mm.
Diane Franklin, Brian Bremer, Nancy Ritter from the Scream franchise. I mean, just a number of individuals that I've been fortunate enough to work with.
Congratulations, Jake. That is incredible. What a wonderful achievement. And you also do, I love the name, I love the name and it's great. You also do distribution. Do you distribute your own films or do you distribute other people's films? I mean, could someone come to you with a micro budget, completed, wonderful independent film? Because I know you promote and love independent film like I do. Could they come to you and have it distributed on through MTS Pictures, or is it just the ones you're creating?
Yeah, so we offer full service. So if you go to our website, which is mtspicturesnews.com, there's a lot of different new outlets, new things, everything that's happening with MTS Pictures. There are quite a few other listed things about how we help indie filmmakers. We do offer distribution. We offer distribution through MTS Pictures as like we operate as a third party distribution company who we take micro budgeted films and we deviate them out to our founded relationships that we've established with certain other production companies and distributors, and we try to make sure that we get our filmmakers the best distribution possible, whether it be for monetary gain or whether it be for exposure. We do try to do that, and you are often encouraged in this business to network with a lot of people. So we network with a lot of people. So we try to help filmmakers who also want to network by submitting their films. There's instructions on the website on how they can submit their films to us. And then yeah, we also do our own releases and distributions through relationships we founded through multiple different distribution and asset companies.
That is great. And distribution is so important, isn't it, Jake? Especially in
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So I love that you're full service with that, and also a full service production company. Also, you have a section or a part of your company, HT, um, sci-fi horror. Is that right?
Yeah, so HT originally, it was a derivative of me and someone I'd once worked with, kind of establishing this here in the Southern Kentucky area in our hometown, which is actually the name stands for Hometown Films, which is a division of the MTS Pictures name, which mostly delves with a sci-fi and horror genre. Because MTS Pictures, we offer all different genres, everything from dramas to romance to sci-fi, but that mainly seems to be the number one that we seem to have the most successful playing field with.
Amazing. And if you go to the website, and please do, I encourage everybody to do that and check it out. You distribute on Tubi, through Plex, Vudu, Prime Video, Walmart, Blu-ray disc. This is amazing. These are all great, viable, avenues for distribution. Really, really wonderful. And thank you so much for sharing that. Also on screen, we have The Manco 2023. Do you want to touch base on that a little bit and tell your fans a little bit about that movie?
Yeah, so The Manco was a film that was in production when I was working with another production company. It was supposed to be it was supposed to be a fully funded endeavor that unfortunately it had scenes shot to it, but it was never released to the public. However, in recent events, at MTS Pictures we have acquired a new finding where people are calling for wanting that film. So that film itself, we still own the rights to it. It is actually currently on a log to look at being made in the next in our next quarter queue of films. So it's actually myself, a few writers, and a few other people that help with production. We all come together and we look over scripts, different things that we have. That one was voted to be thrown into a queue for on the next meeting that we have on what we're going to do, which film we're going to make. That one did come up in conversation. I don't have a lot of details on it right now, but the Manco definitely is something that's been a long running film that has got a lot of support from a lot of different people. And I promise you, whenever the time comes, we're not going to let you
Okay, we believe you. We trust that, Jake.
down.
Absolutely. So, well, I do want to touch on this poster, the Manco 2023. It's a fabulous poster. It's got vintage vibes, and you look like, can I say it? Legend actor Clint Eastwood. Okay, you look like him. You have a lot of, um, you even have mannerisms. I grew up with, we adore our legend Clint Eastwood. Okay, we all do. Make my day. You're making my day right now, Jake. Just, but I just had to say that. But we just admire and respect Clint Eastwood so much. And so many people with the interview that, today with you, they were asking me, you know, is Jake, his son? Is he his grandson? Is he his nephew? Because there's this spitting image of, and this is a wonderful thing because let's talk about it. Is it true? And does nepotism help you? Is there, we're going to talk about that as well, but go over to you, Jake. Tell me what you think.
Yeah, so I get that quite a bit, especially with the Make My Day, and I've even cameoed that same line in a few of my films, such as Daylight to Dark. So a lot of people really like that. And due to my heritage, in the short answer, yes. So I am a distant relative of Clint, and as you can tell, the genetics apparently are very strong in our family, which you can see. In earlier years, I actually used the name, my given name, my actual name is Jake C. Young. But my stage name I operated under for a long time under the recommendation of my manager. She's like, why don't you go by Jake Eastwood? And I was like, well, because like you said, the nepotism, I was like, I wanted to establish my own thing. But as time went on, I did adopt the name so I could kind of have more, I guess what you would say, more leverage. I wanted more. more avenues to explore. So by using the name Jake Eastwood, it did seem to catch a lot of attention, and then people see my face and like, oh yeah, so and then they see they're like, yeah, so yeah, so I'm a distant relative of Mr. Eastwood, who we all like absolutely, like you said, respect and adore. I grew up watching him, and it wasn't until I was slightly older that I had kind of realized just how far that heritage came into play. But yeah, we definitely get that question quite a bit.
Correct. And I did some research, and Clint
Mhm.
Eastwood has a relative, Mabel C. Young, who was, I believe, his grandmother. I'm not sure what side, but that is the Young family, the Young name. And so that's where I just want to make a connection for everybody out there so they understand that's where your name comes from, Jake C. Young. And well, that's fabulous. Thank you so much for that. It's kind of an exclusive here, right on my show. Thank you for clearing that up. So many people have been wondering it, and they're fascinated. And I love that there's a little bit of mystery there. You're not giving it completely away, everything, but I'm hoping to connect some of the dots. And I tell you this because he's a director now. He is just directing. I believe, if I am correct, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jake, he's probably not acting as much as he used to, but he's more directing. He's like 94 years old. I do want to give a happy birthday to Clint Eastwood because his birthday is coming up. And so happy birthday, Mr. Clint Eastwood. We love you. We adore you, right, Jake?
Oh yeah, absolutely. His birthday's at the end of the month. He's going to be 95, and yeah, he is a director. He doesn't do a lot of acting anymore, and I know, unfortunately, I know he's not going to be around forever. But there's so much knowledge and so many things that I've just learned from watching his films and learning about how he's done film over time, and a lot of things that I feel that it might just run in the family blood, but a lot of things I found very parallel, not only to his style of filmmaking, but what I've experienced as well. So it just kind of happens that that's just how those things stick. Um, so definitely,
This is
very
a
happy
wonderful
birthday to
this
him.
this is a wonderful thing. Sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, 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 no. I'm glad. I'm glad you think so. Because
You
especially,
wanted to you
um,
wanted to say happy birthday to him. Go ahead. Sorry about that.
yeah, yeah. Happy birthday, to the one and only, the man, the myth, uh, the legend, the man with no name. Happy birthday to you, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you so much, Jake.
Yeah.
And we love that. And yeah, absolutely. So what else I wanted to mention and touch on is this photo here. You're picking up a magazine and you're looking at it. And I asked you, is this a real magazine? Because some people want to know, in the age of AI, artificial intelligence, right? We always kind of have to ask these things. So was that a real magazine you picked up?
Yeah, so I was at our local mall and I seen that standing there and I was like, oh yeah. So I picked it up and like I was looking through it, and the person that was with me snagged that photograph, and later after I posted it online, everybody was like, does it seem weird like seeing your face on a magazine? I was like, that's not me, but they were like, oh my God, twins and everything like that, because when you're looking through it, it's definitely it's kind of funny, but it was a real magazine, and I was just kind of looking through it, and I seen it in our local mall, and I just picked it up, and it kind of works. So a lot of people ask me like, oh, do people always run up, be like, oh yeah, you're that old? And I'm like, no, no, no. It's actually it's not as big a deal as you would think it is, especially here. Oh, that photograph. Yes, so that
Yeah.
photograph, that was actually, yeah, so that one is actually a favorite of mine. That was taken last year around, no, it was the year before last, around Christmas time at the Hog's Breath Inn in Carmel, California. So I don't know. Do you know anything about the Hog's Breath?
No, tell us about it, Jake.
Yeah, so that was his restaurant that he owned in the early well, it was late 70s to early 80s. He owned the restaurant there. He was also mayor of the town. He lives there currently in Tahima, or yeah, well, it's a private neighborhood. He used to live in Pebble Beach there, but that was the restaurant that he actually owned, and I kind of went around Christmas because I usually go up there around Christmas time, see some family, and just see older heritage. And I was there, and I seen it, and I was like, you know what, this would be a cool photo. So that photo was snagged, and I honestly can't wait to go back. They've recently remodeled it, and it's in the Eastwood building. So they've recently remodeled it, and I can't wait to go back and check it out. Hopefully this Christmas.
Wonderful. And isn't that a fun photo? I just had to include it in your show because I'm so glad. I had no idea it was one of your favorite photos, but I'm so glad to share it with you and everyone here. And that's amazing. And let's talk a little bit about Clint Eastwood's directorial advice or anything like that. Does he like lenses? I mean, he's very technical, right? So does he have specific lenses that he uses, do you think, or what do you think?
Um, so from what I know, his whole vocal thing is mostly a lot of similar stuff I've learned in directing film is it's not so much about direct focus on a certain object. It's about telling a good story. And as you tell a good story, I've heard him often say, and this is something I find to be very true. A lot of people will tell you he's very one take, let's use this take. And I've implemented that into a lot of my own filmmaking because I find that the first take or getting things done very quickly, sometimes you get more of a raw emotion of
Absolutely.
a
It's that
realism in
it's that
characters.
instinct. Yeah, I'm sorry. You dropped out a little bit on the
Yes.
conversation. Go ahead. Go ahead,
No,
sir.
no, you're 100% right. It's that instinct, it's the naturality of it. It's finding what is natural because you have to become that character when you're making a film. And as a director's job, it's to make our audience believe that um, what they are seeing is real.
Mhm.
You have to believe in what you're seeing. There's a lot of times I've had actors do something that's like super good scene, but it's so over rehearsed sometimes that you lose a lot of that raw emotion that you feel. And so that is something that I've heard a lot that he has done that I have implemented into my own films, making of films, and even so much it got me credited me a nickname in my early days of making film. They started calling me One Take Jake because I started doing stuff all in one take and getting so many different um, shots done so quickly that I always brought my films in much faster and way under the budget. So that was always something that a lot of people that were filming with me would just be like, "Whoa, I can't believe how fast we got that done." And it's just like, when I go to shoot a film, I'm very focused. So I'm just boom, boom, boom. I get a lot of uh, a lot of filmmakers ask me like, how do you do that? And it's just, you have to just have a vision in your head before you go in. You have to already know what you want to see before you go in. And as you go into certain things like that, over time, you're going to learn what works for you. You're going to learn what works best for you. You're going to learn your cameras. You're going to learn your film crew. Even if you have new DPs, you're going to learn all works. And having really good DPs, really good people to do lighting and gapping, that is a huge help because one person can't do the whole thing. It definitely takes a whole village.
Definitely. Thank you for that, Jake. And good
Yeah.
storyboards and excellent organization. You're absolutely right. And keep focused on that. Keep focused on it to save time for everybody because I know a lot of takes can take a lot of time. And where if there's multiple takes, I love that you're one take, Jake, because if it's multiple takes, then and it goes up to quite a few, it can add time and add a little bit more stress to the cast and the crew, right? As well. Does that aspect play into it?
Absolutely. So if your cast and your crew are not just feeling it and they're not vibing on that level that you need them to be on, most of your stuff is just not going to work because it helps when everybody is all in kind of a one unison type of mindset. Because when everyone's working together to accomplish one goal, things are going to be so much better than what they are if they're not. So you definitely gotta keep everyone on track and kind of keep them rolling in the right direction.
Right on. Thank you for that, Jake. And you were born and raised in Kentucky, is that right?
Yeah, that is actually correct. Yeah, I'm actually I'm a native to this area.
And what do you love about Kentucky?
What do I love about it? Oh man, it's so laid back, and so whenever you come from one place to another, say I've been out traveling or going to all these conventions, it's so nice to come back home to where everything is just super relaxed. You know, there's not so much crazy stuff going on, and you can just kind of be you. And so that's what I like about it. Besides that, also the lake. We live on the ninth largest man-made lake in all of the United States.
Wow, that sounds so beautiful. Well, thank you for sharing that with us. And did I hear correctly that you went out to Hollywood at one time? How long did you stay there if you went, and what was your experience like?
Um, it was different. It wasn't fantastic. Uh, I kind of uh, I kind of went out there to learn. So I ventured out kind of to get an idea of how those things work in the film industry. When I was there, things kind of had worked in a different manner than a lot of what they do now. And so learning what not to do in Hollywood, I took that knowledge that I had applied and I learned a lot. I learned a whole lot out there. Worked with some really big names. But unfortunately, whenever I came back home to Kentucky, I decided I wanted to make film, but I wanted to do it in a more refined way, more of a guerrilla style. So by doing that, I was able to secure knowledge, but also do things here in Kentucky in certain aspects like filmmaking of, what it has to be. You have a little more leeway to do instead of what it has to be, what I want to do. So doing things here that way it was really great for me. I said I had just kind of learned a lot out in Hollywood, learning what I could do, what I couldn't do, and being an indie filmmaker, you learn more of what you want to do versus what you can and can't do. And so doing that back home, coming back to Kentucky, bringing that knowledge that I had, it just kind of rolled all that into one and made it a much easier grasp for me.
Yes. And so now you have more power. It's more power and more control, basically, that you have. And how long were you out there in Hollywood?
I was out there for about 2.5 years, probably four off and on, just because I was going back and forth a little bit, just kind of. And being out there, you don't close to Kentucky, you'd be in Atlanta, you'd be in Florida, you'd be on the East Coast, you'd be on the West Coast, so you just kind of wherever. But it was kind of a short-lived thing, but it was enough that I learned a lot of interesting things there.
Yeah, that was enough, wasn't it? I understand. I do want to touch on you're going to be hosting the Creepy Con.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, what, right? I do want to touch on you're going to be hosting the Creepy Con Shriek Show Film Fest in Knoxville, Tennessee, August 1st through the 3rd this year, 2025. And June, you're going to be June 21st at the Danville Comic Con in Danville, Kentucky as well. Is there anything else you wanted to promote, Jake?
Yeah, yeah. So first of all, definitely the CreepyCon Halloween and Horror Convention. That is the biggest Halloween and horror convention in Tennessee. well, I guess in the Knoxville area. And we are currently taking film submissions, and I'm going to be the host. Anybody can attend. So if you buy a ticket and show up, I'm going to be there. You can meet me in person. I'd love to meet whoever. I'd love to see your films. They're currently taking submissions on their website. I'll be at Dane, and July, I am going to be in Myers, Florida, at Charlie's Comic Con, where I'm expecting to see a lot of really cool people there. And I've had the privilege of being invited. So if anyone gets the chance to see me at any of these events, I'd love to see you and I'd love to talk to you.
That is so great. That is so great. So let's talk a little bit about Hollywood. I want to circle back and say, what do you think needs to change in Hollywood?
So what I think needs to change in Hollywood myself is I personally think that we're repeating a lot of the same stories. There's no originality, and mostly because you have a hierarchy of big executives where things are just kind of handed down. So you could have a really good story, but by the time it makes its way there, it could be something completely different. We need to listen more to action films. People know what we want to see, so we should probably I think we should listen more to those people who come with originality and original ideas because if you keep repeating things over and over, it's going to be very hard to navigate things to a new level. And honestly, I think that's why a lot of bigger budgeted blockbuster films fail is just because people feel like they've seen it over and over and over, or they've just changed the name and it's a repeat of the same story over and over and over. And in some instances, they just I said everything we needed to say with the first one. So, there's really no need to continue doing those things. So I think if Hollywood was to kind of take a break from listening to executives and a little more of a people who know what they want to see, it would be a little bit easier.
Yeah, definitely. That's amazing. Great answer. And I feel the same way. I feel that there's so many original stories out there that need to be told, and they're great. And they're probably stacked up at the studios on the wall, all the way up to the ceiling on the wall, against the wall, right? All the scripts.
Hmm.
And
For sure. Yeah.
right. And so
Yeah.
and so I'm so proud of you and for being action oriented and doing it yourself because that's what it's come down to. We have to be action oriented and do it ourselves nowadays because we can't really rely on anybody to do it for us because they're all trying to promote their own projects and their own shows. So I'm so proud of you. So good job, Jake. And is there anyone you want to say thank you to or give a shout out on your show?
Honestly, probably to yourself for having me on. Thank you so much. And I know, AJ here, she's a big supporter of independent film, and she's even one who helped us with producing Souls Chapel, which is coming soon. And I can't say thank you enough to people who are constantly supporting me and supporting my work because without people supporting me, I wouldn't be doing this, especially in the indie world. So definitely a huge shout out to our host here. Love her show. Definitely just want to say thank you to all the people that are listening right now who took the time out of their day to come listen to me talk a little bit. I hope we gave you a good show, and I hope that you'll continue to support my work and future things to come.
Absolutely. And if you want to follow Jake, and please do, in MTS Pictures, you're on all the social media platforms. You're on Instagram, you're on Facebook, right?
Mhm.
You can look up MTS Pictures, and you have your own website, right? So they can go there. And
Mhm.
so please support and follow Jake because he's awesome. And he's actually doing it. You're one of the few ones that are actually doing it. That's why I just said a moment ago, I'm so proud of you, and I am. Another great person who's doing their own filmmaking is Deborah Richards out of Las Vegas. And she's doing the same thing as you. She's doing it all herself. And it's the way to go. It's the way forward. And I just love that. So please go ahead and support Jake and Souls Chapel and all of his great films that he's going to be doing in the future. And because he's a super nice guy, a good director, he's a rising star, and awesome actor, and you'll get a lot of fun. So, because we love supporting independent film. This is what it's all about. Okay, so Jake, thank you so much for being on my show. We're gonna have to start wrapping it up soon, but before we go, I always ask my guests, what is your heart message? What is your heart message for today, for the world, Jake?
So if I had to offer something to say, I would say that um, we need to have more love in the world versus people that are so quick to rap and jump on things. I think we need to have more of just a knowing of what is true and what's not, and knowing more about the people that we support and about who they are instead of what they represent.
Absolutely. I love that. And you made a post about this. Don't listen to what other people say. I remember that, right? So please follow
Hmm.
Jake on Facebook because he makes these great posts. And one of them was, don't listen to what other people say about judgment of you or any criticism. Go and find out yourself by their own actions. And I always say the truth comes out over time. I always say that's one of my quotes. And I love that you said that we do need more love in the world. Hence my little heart here. I always, that's my little signature. It's always about the heart. I do have one more question, Jake, because I've enjoyed this so much, and you're so awesome. Thank you for being here with me today. What advice would you have for young filmmakers your age? You're probably in your 20s, right? Or 30s, but you don't have to give it away if you don't want to. But you're from the young generation. You're the next generation, and I could be your aunt. I'm that old. So I just want to. But for their perspective, for them, what advice would you give the young filmmakers today? Because it's really changed, hasn't it? The landscape has changed. So give us some words of wisdom,
Yeah,
Jake. Yeah.
it definitely the landscape of how things happen definitely have changed. So best advice I can give anyone who's thinking about making a film or wants to make a film or anything in that line, don't give up, because so many people give up right before. And if you give up, you only fail when you quit. I mean, you have nothing to lose. You only fail when you quit. Quitters don't win at anything. You have to keep going. And I know, listen, as an independent filmmaker, I know some days you just want to throw in the towel and be done. I mean, and you don't have to listen to me, but listen to yourself. Don't give up on that dream. And if you got the ability to make a film, if you make it, I don't care if it's on your iPhone, you got a little camcorder. I started out with a little camcorder that ran on like batteries. Okay, that's where it all started. Don't give up. Keep going and keep making films. If you can, just make them.
That is beautiful. Thank you so much, Jake. You're amazing, and we appreciate you so much here at Film Talk with AJ Dean. Until next time, we wish you the very best, many blessings, and lots of love. And thank you so much. We'll see you on social media, Jake. Take care and have fun at all those events you're gonna attend. Okay?
We're going to do our best. Thank you so much for having me on today.
Bye bye for now.